for a lot of us, we know this English. It's not that we don't know it, we know it.
Come closer to me. Hello, boys and girls.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, men and ladies, all of the above.
Hey guys, how you all doing? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Like I promised you all, behold my man,
Hi, everyone. This young lady here has enabled me to be here, but what can we do?
Shall you pass it? Plenty English. Kini if not good.
Nagul is not an English
Is
word.
what is it?
It just expresses my inner mind. It's not an actual word.
Well, people of God, see what I have to deal with. Hey guys, welcome. Today I just quickly want to talk about IELTS. So I've been getting a couple of questions about IELTS, how I did it, scores and all of that. To be honest, I don't know how I did it because this guy has been bragging about his IELTS. So for those that don't know, a bit of a refresher. So if you plan to relocate out of your country to some certain countries, you're expected to take an English test, yeah, and test of English language. So IELTS is one of the tests. I know there's IELTS. I know there's CELPIP. IELTS stands for International English Language Test Standardization or something like that. Yeah.
Hey, somebody went to read.
So it's handled by British Council, something like that. One ridiculous thing that always pops up or comes to mind whenever people talk about IELTS is the fact that we were colonized by the British. We learned with English, like they taught us in our schools with English. In some Nigerian homes, I speak for Nigeria because that's where I am from. In some Nigerian homes, they don't even speak their native language. They speak English, but yet we have to, do the English test. When I did the test, like I said, I scored a 7.5. Disclaimer, I wrote that test 3 days after my white wedding. Like I didn't prepare. 3 days after my wedding.
Excuses.
My wedding was on the 20th of December. I wrote my test on the 23rd. I'll be 24th of December. So you see why I scored a 7.5. However, this guy prepared for his test for months. And he got a perfect score. So
perfect.
I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, what's up? How did you do it? So I'm here to ask him. Hi, welcome to my channel. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's good to be here.
What's your name? Can we meet you? We don't know you, sir.
My name is Maiwa. I'm my man, and this young lady has been shouting about, and she just wanted me to drop one or two things regarding the IELTS. She's just making more. I didn't have the perfect score in IELTS.
What do you call a 9988? People of God.
I had 9 in reading, 9 in listening, and I'd add 8 in speaking and 8 in writing.
People, can you hear that? And they're just dropping it like that.
And that was my first IELTS.
His first attempt, yeah.
Despite, because she says a lot to try and calm herself, whatnot. I read maybe 3 or 4 days to that exam.
Bro, braggadosh.
And I know to get into it, the most important thing for the IELTS is practice.
Okay.
For the listening, for the reading, you're able to do a lot of practice tests online. There are a couple of websites. I'm sure Vivian can share them with you.
Yeah, I'll put the links for the ones that I used. I used one actually. Yeah, I'll share the link for the one that I used. But before we get into it, like
phone here for notes. So
before we get into it, like when you thought of writing the test, what crossed your mind? How did you feel about preparing for the test, like getting into the text really?
So the truth of the matter is everybody is at different places when it comes to English.
Okay.
For me, writing the test, it was more of what's the technique to passing this test? Because it's one thing to know the English. It's another thing for you to know how to pass the exams.
Okay.
And typically, British exams generally tend to have techniques to them. So it's not enough to just know the material. You need to know the technique to passing the exam.
Okay.
Right? So for example, in the listening section of the exam, it was even a friend of mine that gave me this tip where it says all of the answers for listening comes in a sequential manner. They come one after the other. So as you're listening, question one, the answer for question three does not come before the answer for question one. They all
Okay.
follow a sequence.
Yeah.
So in your listening exam, when you're practicing, once you miss a question and you're hearing the answer to a different question, it means you have to move on. Forget the ones you've missed out. You just have to move on. Otherwise, you'll panic and then miss other questions in front.
Okay.
So
True.
for listening, to prepare for it, what I'll just say is you need to listen to a variety of accents. They're going to be playing a recording for you. Sometimes it will sound like the person is mumbling. Um, a lot of us watch American movies on Netflix and whatnot, and a lot of us have become lazy where we just put on subtitles and we're reading, not actually listening to what the person is saying. I'm a victim
Vivian,
of that.
catch your sub.
I'm also a victim of that. I prefer to watch films with subtitles. But one way of preparing for a listening exam is basically to just listen, watch movies, listen to what they're saying, pick it. You might not to say take notes, but you really might not have time to take notes. You have to be really quick. So again, the most important thing is practice. And it's not practice of you check one, quickly go and look at the answer and say, yes, I got it, and move to the second one. Or as you're practicing, you're rewinding to, I almost got it. No, no, no. You have to be honest with yourself and just listen and do it at a go.
Okay.
Um, like
For
I said,
writing.
for writing, see, when I was writing my exam, writing is one of the ones I didn't practice for. I didn't practice for writing.
So
I won't
let me
lie.
tell you something. You know how I want to say something like, "Oh my God, the sun is too bright," something like that. It's not my English, Abby. When I ask my man, I will hear something like, "The sun ray portrays through the
That's a
curtain
lie.
and is inching the eye."
That's a lie. A fight that me and this young lady have had is this. If there is a word that describes how I am feeling, I will use that word.
Why don't you just use regular
No,
English?
there's nothing like it is regular English.
Okay, why don't you use everyday English?
everyday
It's
English.
not everyday English.
Why would I use 7, 8, 9 words when there is one word that captures what I want to say?
No, when you're talking to me, boya, come to my level.
Let's not digress. So for writing, you need to first understand the task. Task one might be a letter or report. Task two is usually an essay. So before you start writing, just take a few minutes to plan what you want to write. At the end of the day, they are not really looking for you to use fancy words or spectacular words that we've not. No, it's can you write coherently? Can you write and it's grammatically correct?
Coherently, like, can you write and it's flowing?
Everybody knows what coherent
Have you
means.
seen the problem?
When you're writing a story, does it make sense? Does it flow? Is it logical? Are you writing from one point to another point, or are you just writing because you know all these words and you want to somehow shoehorn it? You want to somehow force it
What is
to
shoehorn?
enter. I said force it. I said force it. Let's go into that. So again, once you're done writing, I'd say just if time permits, you review and look over it for spelling errors, grammatical errors, because more often than not, that's what takes away from your marks.
Yeah.
For speaking, you'd have to be observant a little bit. I noticed during my speaking exam, you could always tell from the face of the examiner if you were rambling off topic. Again, for speaking, it's not a test of knowledge. It's a test of, are you able to speak? Can you convey your ideas? They can ask you a question that you don't know anything about. If you're answering the question, can you portray, like, even if what you're saying is wrong, can you say it confidently and with the proper tenses? Again, it's not about fancy words. It's about, are you following proper sentence structure? What you're saying, does it flow? Does it make sense? Are you trying to pass across an idea? If you're listening to yourself, so for speaking, what you can do is just do a recording and then watch it and ask yourself, do I understand what this person is trying to say to me?
Are you guys getting this? So I'm giving you guys free knowledge. I hear that people charge money and put you inside WhatsApp class, a big group, to be telling you for these basic
The thing
things.
about it is, for IELTS, if you really want to speak about it, you cannot compress it into very short video. It goes deep, 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 deep. So at the
Mm-hmm.
surface level for it, I'll tell you for speaking, be fluent and coherent. You need to expand your vocabulary. In expanding your vocabulary, it's not about fancy words. It's about, do you have different words in your repertoire, in your basket of words? Do you have different words that you can pick from? You're not repeating the same words over and over and over again. You can clearly express yourself. Practice common topics. Again, it goes back to what we say, which is practice, 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 and practice. For reading, the reading section can be tricky. It can be tricky in that there's a section in the reading exam that says true, false, cannot tell. In true, false, cannot tell, there's a tendency for us as Nigerians to look and say, this is what this person is trying to say,
Yeah.
even though it hasn't been outrightly stated. So it can be tricky at times. A way to get through it is, once you get the passage that you're doing for reading, you have to skim and scan, which is, when you first get it, you have to read really fast, which is skimming. It's a skill. It's a skill that you might have to train and get, but you skim through the entire passage. Apology. What happens is that when you're reading the question, you then scan for specific information. So they ask you, what is this? Because you've skimmed through the passage, you didn't read it in depth. You know, oh, I saw this word in the second passage.
Yes.
You can then go there and scan to see, okay, this is the answer for this. The second thing is, you need to manage your time wisely. Spend no more than 20 minutes on each passage. Otherwise, you'll get bogged down, oh my God, I must answer this one. And there's a trick in your forcing yourself to answer this particular package. The next passage, why do I keep saying passage? The next passage
I'm
might
not
be
expecting a package.
Easier one for you. The next passage might be easy. You might be able to gain more points there. So, practice different types of questions. And again, it goes without saying, practice, practice, practice,
Yeah.
practice. And when you're practicing, you need to be true to yourself. It's one thing to say, I'm reading this reading passage. The answer is A. Let me quickly go and check the back. A, I got it. No, you're not helping yourself. You need to practice in test conditions.
Okay.
Anyway.
Valid. Yeah, that's true. Practicing in test conditions just sort of puts your mind, like, keeps you in a state of as if you're actually taking the test. Do you get? Then you act the way you would act if you're taking the test, as opposed to just, practicing. You get?
Yep. And to round it up, I'll just say, remember, consistent practice and familiarizing yourself with the test format is key to acing the IELTS. For a lot of us, we know this English. It's not that we don't know it, we know it.
Yeah.
It's then the exam technique.
Yeah.
There are several YouTube channels that you can use to prepare. There is IELTS Teacher, IELTS Advantage. There is
I think I used
IELTS.
Is it IELTS Advantage I
test.
used?
There's so many.
I think I used IELTS Advantage. I will just check.
So many.
And I'll put it.
So many packages available. Yeah, I finally used package correct. Available for you to use. And yeah, best of luck, man. Just practice and keep going at it. Take time each day to practice. Read voraciously. That means read a lot. Again, it's vocabulary. Find ways to put some of this tashy words, this fancy word, just put it inside. So instead of saying read a lot, you say read voraciously. It's raining here. We have to leave.
All right, people. So it's drizzling, and it's just there drizzling. That's the problem. All throughout this week, today is Friday, we have been sweating, like literally screaming. And now it's been a heat wave, and now we're having a cold wave. I don't just get it. I think it's gonna rain for the rest of the week. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on board, my man girl. So right, yeah, everybody. That's it. This is a little trick. I'm going to put the links that we've talked about here. And yeah, thank you so much for coming to our TED Talk today. And thank you so much, baby. See you on the next one. I love you, and I want you to know that Jesus loves you even more. Bye.
Bye, everyone.